I'm Jeff Fritz with SoundStage.com, and I'm joined today by Peter Mackay. He is the Vice President of Sales, Global Sales, actually, for Magico. Peter, how are you today?
Very well, Jeff. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. That's quite the title, Vice President of Global Sales. That sounds like quite a responsibility there.
It certainly is. It keeps me running 24/7, different time zones, and up early in the morning, up late at night. But I love it. It's what I do.
Well, listen, I appreciate you joining me today, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Magico's A5 and the A-series in general, but specifically I wanted to talk about the A5. And for those of you that don't know, I just reviewed the A5 for SoundStage Ultra. We'll put the link down in the description below. But it's if you've read my review, obviously I think the world of those speakers. It's a terrific product, and I wanted to just delve into the A5 a little bit. And so the first question that I have for you is, you've obviously set up your fair share of A5s at dealers probably around the world. What's been the reception from your dealers?
Well, the reception has been absolutely fantastic, and we have a lot of emails that come in from end users that have them set up in their homes now, and they just love them. Dealers also, I think initially the A5 was assumed to be just a bigger brother to the A3, a bigger sound, but a similar sound to the A3. And really, at the time of the press release, we kind of held back talking about our secret weapon, which is the new cone technology, which originally was intended to be introduced for the M9. So the same cone material in the M9 is used in the A5 cones. The driver makeup is very different, of course, but the cone material itself is the latest and greatest, most advanced technology offered from Magico in the history of the company.
And so when you've set the A5s up, and you have the luxury of being able to set those speakers up in all types of different rooms and all types of different environments, what have you learned setting those speakers up, literally around the world in terms of their setup, how they acoustically blend to a room? What have you learned about the A5s in your experience so far?
Well, certainly knowing Magico as a loudspeaker, it's designed with the least amount of enclosure resonance. It's a sealed chamber, and our goal is to have the most forward energy from all the transducers, which is all part of the music. The biggest challenge is working in the room space. The acoustic environment in rooms can be quite challenging. Some rooms that I've worked in are very difficult, others not so much. I've been in very over-damped rooms, which is actually the worst case scenario. It's easier to place a speaker in a room that has just a little bit of acoustic property materials on the walls or furniture where the speaker can breathe. And really, placement is critical with the A5s and all loudspeakers in general, because to optimize the activity of the speaker, to allow it to energize the seating position, you have to find that perfect plot point so there's no reflections from the ceiling, side walls, rear wall, or even floor that impede that speaker's effortless energy to the seated listening position. And it takes either in some rooms it can be very quick, in others it can take some time, but we always get there, find that spot.
Have you found that the A5 works better in larger rooms, smaller rooms, or mid-sized rooms? What have you found in terms of rooms that work really well with the A5s and perhaps some that don't?
Well, the A5 has 3 9-inch bass drivers, so it's capable of moving a lot of air. And because of the enclosure design and the limited, almost no resonant factor in the enclosure, it doesn't tend to actuate the room itself. So speakers work in a medium to large size room. We've even squeezed them into smaller rooms where people just don't have the space, but they want that quality level of full range performance. Not that they're going to turn the gain up so loud that it will overpower the room space itself, but they still want full range performance in a relatively small room. So a Magico loudspeaker, including the A5, very room friendly. Certainly, if you've got big power and a larger space, they will fill that large room with tremendous frequency response and powerful bass energy, which is exciting.
Yeah, I have to echo that. You know, I have the A5s actually set up behind me in what would probably be characterized as a medium-sized room. And, you know, I found that they were a snap to set up, really. Doing some acoustic measurements, I found that I got very, very flat response, you know, a little bit of rise in the bass, which just, you know, gave that, you know, that power to the music. And they were really, you know, a breeze to set up. And so yeah, I can imagine that that job is pretty easy when you have a speaker, you know, that has, you know, all the technical quality, smooth off-axis dispersion, you know, those types of technical characteristics that make the speaker actually easier to set up. And so yeah, I found that they were pretty easy to set up in my room and almost immediately sounded absolutely fantastic.
That's great. We appreciate your time with the review you did. Thank you.
So the last question that I have is, what has been your personal experience listening to them? Have you do you have a pair at home? I guess would be one question people might want to know. And if not, you know, in some of your dealers' listening rooms, what's been your experience hearing them?
Well, if I had a pair at home, I'd have a lot of angry people at me because we have so many on open order. And even though we tell people it's going to be an extended period of time to wait, they still say, I'm in, let's go, hurry up. You know, when they come, I'm really going to be excited. So I don't have A5s yet, but I've had the privilege of visiting a number of stores and setting them up. And I think that the most fun experience was with Bob Vicentainer at Rhapsody in New York. And I had a whole day to kill. Don't tell Alon that, but I did go down and see our dealer in Manhattan. And he had the speaker set up, the A5s, and we tried 3 or 4 different electronic combinations with those just to experiment. So it took me back to my earlier days when I was cutting my teeth on, you know, high-end audio, and we had a blast, but the sound performance was unbelievable. He played a Mac Miller track that just curled my toes and wrinkled my kneecaps. It was just an amazing track. And the SoundStage was huge. And Bob has a big room. And it may not be the best room acoustically, but the performance of the A5 was just extraordinary. So we looked at each other and said, if every end user, prospective customer, could hear what we're doing right now, instant sale. Thank you very much. They're not going to look backwards, that's for sure.
Well, you know, you know, obviously I wasn't there in that room and present when you were listening to those tracks, but, you know, in my own space, I have to say that I've had many similar experiences, you know, over the past 5 or 6 weeks, maybe a little bit longer than that with the A5s. It's really been just a tremendous, tremendous product. And so, yeah, I was really curious to see what your impressions in different rooms. Of course, at this point, I've only heard the A5s in my room because, well, you know, with COVID, we don't have audio shows. At least
Right.
maybe that'll change soon. But any parting thoughts on the A5 or the A-series in general before we let you go?
Well, you know, the A-series, the intention of bringing the A-series to market was to capture interest from a wider audience. Those that had always aspired to owning Magico and never could now can. So we're very pleased to receive emails and communication from a much wider audience. And those that are jumping in, you know, they write to us and just talk about everything that they enjoy about the speaker system, the performance, the integration, the easy integration with most electronics, so they're user friendly and room friendly. So it's been an exciting ride, and it just keeps getting better and better. And certainly through the pandemic, when we launched the A5, it was a slow trickle out because people were still nervous about what was going on. And then all of a sudden, Jeff, there was this upward trajectory where the phone was ringing off the hook. So people wanting to improve their systems at home were spending the money, investing in better cabling, better electronics, better speakers to enhance their time at home, which seemed to be every day. And thankfully, that's starting to change now. So we're starting to see the world open up and get back to what we remember as normal lifestyle. But it's not impeding that continued effort to make improvements with products that are affordable and like the A5 and offering the performance level that it brings to anyone's home, which is stellar.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the time, Peter, and yeah, I echo those sentiments. I hope everybody gets out and can hear a pair of A5 soon. You know, at the price, it's really something special. So, Peter, thanks again for your time, and yeah, we won't tell Alone that you spent a day listening down in New York. But take it easy, and we appreciate you joining us today on SoundStage.
All right, Jeff, thanks very much. Stay healthy.
You too.